Okay, we are live, live, live. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and I believe Periscope. My name is Bahamia Ulysses. I am your geriatric care coach, also known as Nurse in the Know, and I am joined here by Demelza. Demelza, I'm going to go live on IG. I forgot about having that, so let me put that in here. I just don't want to make, excuse me, I don't want to make too much of our conversation here tonight go on without getting everybody in. Okay, so we are live on IG. I'm going to ask you to come on in there too so that people can come in and follow our conversation here on Instagram. We've got a few people joining right now. I just want to give everybody a moment. Guys, thank you so much for joining. My name is Bahamia. I am your geriatric care coach, also known as Nurse in the Know. And I am joined here by a good friend of mine, Miss Demelza from Parental Wealth. And I'm going to go ahead and ask you to join here on Instagram. Bear with us here while we get our technology. Yes, our technology together. We've got it. All right, awesome. So we are connecting here. Here we go. All right, this is perfect. Can you hear me? Am I echoing? Do I have feedback? Yes.
No, I think you are.
We are good
over here. Yeah.
Hey guys. Yeah. Okay. Hey guys. Okay. So we are here today. Demelza, thank you so much for coming here one more time.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to kind of give people an update, or just people who have joined us for the first time, a wrap about what we do here on Tuesdays. Basically, we have money talks over here, and Demelza and I have been doing this series for a while. I'll let you introduce it. It's been a while. It has been. It's okay. I feel like anything that lasts more than like 3 whole series to me is a while. I think we're good, and we're past that mark, and we're doing really good.
Absolutely.
So, for those of you who don't know, what we talk about here in terms of money talk is really more or less how we can help our aging parents, people who are caregivers, people who are kind of responsible for their parents or look like they may be responsible for their parents down the road, really manage their finances, get their act together, and ask the questions that need to be asked now so that when we get to the space later on down the line, we're not, in chaos, pretty much what I work with on a regular basis. So, Demelza, would you please tell the folks who are tuning in for the first time just a little bit about your story, your background, what you do, and how we kind of came to this place?
Absolutely. So, hey, what's going on, fam? My name is Demelza Campbell, and I'm the CEO of Parental Wealth, where I help retired parents build wealth and live their best life. All right. So I work with dedicated daughters or savvy sons, or, they, because I'm also about non-binary as well. But the point is that I work with parents or the children to go ahead and build that wealth. And I am absolutely obsessed with building wealth with our richest cultural asset, which is our elders.
Absolutely. And I am so pumped because I think that in our generation, it's kind of, like that misnomer where people know that at some point down the line, they're going to have to deal with this stuff, but they don't really get it until they get to that space. So tonight, I wanted to kind of clear up a few of the misconceptions and also give our audience an opportunity to learn a little bit more about you and what you do, because I really think that your services are truly important. And I feel like a lot of the times with my caregivers, and I'll just, like I said, speak from my experience, they get to this space of caregiving and they feel so overwhelmed and so disheartened because they just don't have the tools. They don't know the information. And I feel like this is an awesome platform to start to really get a lot of that information out. Absolutely. So indulge with me while I ask you a couple questions. I have this whole huge thing around blueprints, right? What is a blueprint? I have an elder care blueprint for people who are caring for their aging parents for the first time, really trying to get a layout of what this whole caregiving cycle looked like. I want to know what was the money blueprint of your household? Because a lot of what kind of ties caregivers to their responsibilities is finances. They and their parents don't have the finances to be able to afford caregiving assistance, or maybe a assisted living facility, or something that would not have them in the caregiving circle. A huge factor, huge,
Okay.
like I said, it's the finances. Not that they don't want to care for their aging parents, but it's the finances. So tell us about your money blueprint, kind of how you came to this space, because I feel like a lot of our viewers don't really know what a blueprint or like that map is when it comes to finances.
Sure, absolutely. So, let's talk two levels, right? So,
Okay, sure.
parental wealth has like an overarching framework that we really leverage with our clients. And so, the first one is talk money. We have got to be talking money. And that means having maybe sometimes some hard conversations with ourselves and with our retired parents. The second one is really reframing retirement, or let's even say reimagining retirement. I don't know if people know, but if you look up retirement online and ask for synonyms, it's actually pretty negative. Every
Really,
single
yeah.
word actually means like death, you're done,
It's
stick
over.
a nail in it, it's over. And for me, it's like, wait a minute, what is this? What is this? We
Right,
really
right.
have to reframe retirement and what it looks like in our mind, and maybe start to kind of shed some of the societal pressure that I think we as children and also our parents tend to take on as well.
Right.
After we talk money and reframe retirement, then we got to start talking about generational wealth, right? Like we have to have a conversation about generational wealth and what that means to us and what that means to our parents. And then finally, last but certainly not the least, it's all about aging in power. You want to be able to age powerfully, not be in a situation where you are sacrificed on the altar because you're old, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, absolutely.
you really want to be living your best retired life, living fully, doing all the things that you want to do, have the adventures that you deserve to have. And so it's really important to do that. That is like the overarching framework for parental wealth. But on the ground, in terms of a blueprint, let me tell you some of the things that I say with my, clients over and over again. It's really about 5 things, right?
Okay.
So 1, you got to know your money.
Yes.
Every single solitary cent. You have to know what it is doing for you and what it's not doing for you. Number 2, no rounding. We do not round up and we do
I'm
not
guilty.
round
I'm guilty.
down. Yeah, no, I can't stand it. I literally bring out, hold up, where is it?
Where?
The calculator. And when I'm like, well, how much is it to the penny? Oh, we'll just round up. Nope. No. We need to know exactly how much money is in here, right?
Okay.
And so, number 3, we work together.
Okay.
Let's be real. Sometimes you're working with 2 parents, right? It's not just 1, it's 2. How are they working together? Are they being, vulnerable and transparent with each other about money and finances and what they want and the habits that they have formed over 30, 40, or 50 plus years of marriage?
Absolutely.
We really get to talk about that, be that marriage or partnership, right? Because we have partners that might be LGBTQ plus. We want to acknowledge that as well. And then really figuring out the money as you age in that particular area is super important. Number 4, we don't blame and we don't shame.
Okay.
There's no blaming,
like
there's no shaming. Because the only thing it does is slow us down and keep us from actually doing what we want. And after you're done, if you're feeling drained, empty, and incomplete because you feel a sense of guilt or that you can't overcome, something that you did in the past, then you're not going to move forward. And you have to move forward in order to work on your money. And then finally, it's really checking in. We constantly check in consistently. It needs to be on a regularly scheduled day, all the time. And sometimes that doesn't mean that you can't flex, right? We all have lives, things come up. Maybe, a parent has something else that came up they want to do that day.
Sure.
Fine. we can flex that, but we know that, if we skip it this week, we're going next week, and we might increase the time that we talk so that we can just make sure that we cover things. I wouldn't double the time, but I would increase it a little bit. So if you have a normal 1 hour meeting, you should be having like an hour and a half meeting the next time at least, especially if you skipped that particular meeting. So those are just some of my nuggets.
Those are huge. Those are just nuggets. Those are gems, Demelza. Are you kidding me?
I'm trying to drop it off. I'm
sprinkle,
trying to
just
sprinkle. Okay. Just sprinkle it all over.
Absolutely. No, those are great, Demelza. I think, especially that last one in terms of scheduling that, having that schedule, having a routine, and then also even having an agenda for that meeting would be huge, because I know even with my care plans, we budget. We don't do all of this, right? I don't solve your problems. I help you figure out how you can afford certain services and how to grow old, but you really go into building parental wealth, building wealth in your retirement. And I think people don't think about retirement and wealth as equating or even in the same sentence, right? So I just wondered, are there any case studies that you can share with us that, I mean, you're incredibly passionate about? I know you have financial literacy as the pillar of wealth building, but is there anything within the Black community or even the aging community that you can really share with us so that people can really get an idea of what this wealth building in retirement really is?
Okay, so yeah, I actually can. So got a set of clients, right?
Okay.
Been working with them for a couple of years, and they were able to pay off like a ridiculous amount of debt. And I'll just be honest, I like to use my parents because I feel like, in my personal opinion, I want people to know, especially clients that are thinking of, or individuals that are thinking of taking me on, that I do all of this with my most precious asset, which are my parents, and I'm never going to do something with your parent or with you as a retired parent that I wouldn't do with my own. And I think that that's just really important. And so after paying off credit card debt, federal taxes, state taxes, they owed the IRS because they withdrew from their 401k early, which is just painful, right?
It's painful.
Like just a whole slew of things, paid all of that off, and just even to today, I'm so proud. But where this becomes really relevant, especially as we talk about it in wealth building or the wealth gap within the Black community, a lot of that wealth gap is attributed to the loss of assets, right? The loss of homes, the loss of land or property, so to speak. About a year ago, a really close family member sold the family house without permission from the other family members and sold it for 1/5 of what it was resold at by the developer who bought it, right? And, that's a whole story. We're not going to get into the familial side of the story, right?
Dynamics, family dynamics, Demelza.
Family dynamics, right? But here's the thing. There was no will.
Right.
There was no will. There was a name on a deed.
That's
and because there was a name on a deed, that individual's name on the deed meant that they had control over that particular property, right?
Absolutely.
So that individual sold the property. This was the family home. And in my personal opinion, I consider this our ancestral home. I know that, that is typically applied to like European, I've had this for 200 years and passed it on. But for us, my grandmother bought that home with my grandfather at a very, very early age for her. And so to see that go away, it was like you felt like you were losing your ancestral seat, and that's just what I'm going to call it.
Right.
So by virtue of doing the work for 5, 6, 7 years of paying off the debt, they increased their cash flow significantly.
Right.
So the cash that would normally be going to pay down on credit card bills, car payments, taxes, all of that stuff, they were able to decide to buy that home from the developer instead and bring it back into the family. So my father and his brothers got together, pooled their money, and decided to buy the house back. and have a renter.
Okay.
Okay, so they are not, losing any money. This money, the mortgage is paid,
Hmm.
and it belongs to the family. And that was something that was super important to my dad. So, like,
Hmm.
when we talk about like the loss of wealth, in many ways, it's because we haven't put things on paper, or
Mm.
because we were prevented from putting things on paper to the degree necessary because of racial and social injustice that took place for so many generations. Well, now, hey, we're much more aware. We need to be doing the work to
Right.
make sure that we're maintaining and retaining these assets in the family. I think that that is a really recent example of why I'm so passionate about this. We it's not, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the easiest thing in the world, but I think
Right.
it's the most important thing in the world. Like,
Sure.
there's only so much I think that we're going to be able to say, oh, well, this happened in the past.
Hmm.
I want to acknowledge the past because I think that is very important, but I want to use it so that it's like, okay, what can we do right now to change things up? And what was done was, it was the decision to purchase that home. And I will also say that, yeah, we negotiated like heck
I was
on
gonna
that.
say.
Okay, yeah, no, there
Sure.
was
Sure.
just, it was like, oh, really? Okay, we're gonna get this inspected, and we found some things. That's another thing, right? Like,
Right.
let me just drop this nugget.
Sure. Sure.
This developer purchased this home in a very black neighborhood in the South, okay,
Okay.
and made it look very pretty when they developed it and put it back online to sell it. But when we got it inspected, because I insisted that if we are going to do this, it needs to be within a certain range in terms of money,
Hmm.
and it has to be inspected. We're not buying a house that's going to become a money pit. Like,
Sure.
that's the deal. I made that deal with my father. I was like, that's the deal. We don't buy a house that you now have to spend a ridiculous amount of money on to upkeep for
Sure.
upkeep.
Sure. Hmm.
And we found that this particular developer only made it look pretty. And it was like, oh, well, if you want this much
Yeah.
money, nope, we
You got
need
to
to
do the
bring this
real thing.
down. You're not even within code for the county
Ooh.
on several items. So either you fix it or you drop the price. The developer went back in and fixed it. So I really see that as predatory, in my personal opinion. Like, you purposely made it look pretty. You didn't take care of it. You didn't bring it up to code, but you sure enough were ready to sell it, right?
Quick.
And
Quick.
then it would have become a money pit for somebody else.
Absolutely. And I think that happens all the time. I think real estate, if you don't get educated before you even make certain
Hmm.
decisions, you're really going to have a hefty price to pay down the line. But I
Right.
just wanted to say before we go into our next question, a couple people who have come in here on Instagram, and I wanted to say hello to Nancy Yao, Vince Myers. Hey, how you guys doing? Attaway Worldwide, thank you for coming. MLOX 1957, thank you for
Hmm.
coming. We are really excited to have you in. And if you are just joining us, we are talking money. We are talking really parental wealth. Overall, conscientious caregiving is building wealth with your elders possible. We want to
Hmm.
make sure that people kind of not only understand that parental wealth and building wealth with your parents who are retired is not only possible and doable, it's probable, and you can really make a difference well into their retirement so that whatever their condition is, especially you as the caregiver,
Right.
you having to be that person to really provide for them, whatever that is, you can not only maintain, whether it's in their home or in an assisted living or in a long-term care setting, but there is no lack. There aren't any tough decisions because I've
Right.
got a load and list of tough decisions people have had to make for their elders that no one should ever have to make. So welcome everyone. I just want to move along to the next question because I know I'm going to get all hyped up about people coming in. Mary 3 Catherine, thank you for coming. My next question for you, Demelza, let's see what I've got here. I wanted to know, you kind of answered this a little bit, but can you break down the great transfer of wealth
Right.
that we're about to experience? Because I know you talked about this a little bit, like I said, but
Hmm.
I want people to really understand because I feel like it's a buzzword. I feel like or a buzz phrase. I'm sorry, that
Hmm.
goes around, and people don't really understand how that's going to impact them as they come into their caregiving kind of season. Because what I know is that women particularly, so we're talking dedicated daughters and savvy sons, right? But particularly
Mm-hmm.
women who are in their late 40s or mid to late 40s, going into their 50s, end up having this caregiver role kind of a little prematurely. I feel like in generations past, there were I guess, older caregivers, meaning
Sure.
people who were actually approaching retirement caregiving. And now that's moved back just a hair. So I want people to really get an understanding of what that means financially, because this transfer of wealth has a lot of different factors involved. And I'm not a financial expert, and not that we all are, but I
Right.
just want you to really explain to people who are looking at the retirement aspect of this and what that means for them.
Okay, absolutely. I think that it's super important people understand why this space
Hmm.
is. It's honestly it's booming right now.
Right,
Okay,
right.
the Great Wealth Transfer is literally estimated to be about $68 trillion. Okay,
Wow.
this is not million. This is not billion. This
Billion.
is trillion
Right,
dollars
right.
that are going to be passed down from baby boomers
Hmm.
to their children
Hmm.
or heirs in the next 30 years.
Okay.
Okay. So these assets include life insurance benefits,
Hmm.
trusts, land, property that may or may not be on that land,
Hmm.
intellectual property, trademarks, copyrights, tax strategies. This is
Mm,
a lot of money. And
a lot of
I
money.
think that by virtue of, we always hear about the black wealth, you know what I mean?
Sure,
The
sure.
black wealth gap, right?
Yep.
People seem to think that, oh, well, we don't have money. We got money. Listen, I don't know about you, but my daddy, my uncles, and my aunties, hustlers, all of them. And they all know how to stack. What it is are we actually making our money work for us, or are
Mm,
we getting worked by our money? This is
hmm.
totally like a Players Club moment of, you got to make the
Right.
money. Don't let the money,
Don't make
money
the
make
money.
you. Right? Yes, Diamond. Absolutely.
Let's do
So
this. Right.
the key thing to understand with this is that you have got to look at your relationship with your parent
Hmm.
and decide if you're going to be the child forever or if you're going to be the partner. And as a parent, if you are a retired parent and you're watching this, you get to decide if you are going to tap that energy, that knowledge, and that love that exists within your child to be able to partner with them so that you are living the retirement of your dreams,
Sure.
because it is possible, but sometimes they're going to see things that you're not going to see, and
Hmm.
vice versa. And it's really about being able to communicate about that. The second key thing is you have got to put this on paper. Okay,
Right.
like, and I say paper because I'm from like the Northeast,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
every so
Me
often
too.
that comes
Yeah.
out.
It
But
just
you got to
happened.
put it on paper. Estate planning is so important here. It is so important to have somebody who understands elder care, and elder care is the laws. Somebody who understands how to create an estate plan for you. Yes, yes, you have LegalZoom. I understand that. But getting advice, legal advice from
Hmm.
an individual that you hire and that is there to work for you 100%, sometimes it's better to invest a little bit more money. If you have nothing to start with, go with LegalZoom.
Sure. Of
You're going to
course.
have a baseline. But
Hmm.
if you've been doing this for a couple of years and you want to level up because maybe you came into some other money, maybe you got a pension buyout, hello, okay, that gave you a nice chunk of money
Hmm.
back in the day. I know people who got a
Yes.
quarter mil
Yes.
in a
Yes.
pension buyout. You
Yes.
need to know what to do with that money, and you really need to get your parents involved now so that the decisions can be made jointly. You need
Okay.
to get your parents involved now, and if you love and trust your kid, ask that kid questions.
Okay.
Don't miss out on the opportunity to really tap into that energy. And yes, Sasha, I am trying to drop these gems.
Yes.
I am trying to serve. Yes, Northeast is in the house. First of all, I got some brand new Tims that I just picked up
I miss
because
my
I'm ready for the
Tim.
winter.
I'm it's Ugg
So,
season over here. I'm so sad.
Listen, I mean, they are Tim sneakers because at this point in my life, I don't want to wear 5 pounds on my feet.
All right, okay.
But
Hmm.
it's good enough for me. I mean, I feel like I can, slay at this level,
You
which is
can,
Tim
absolutely,
sneakers and not just
absolutely.
like original Tims. But I did pick up some Tims. Yes.
All right. So yes, I think not only were you, so here's the part where I feel like people don't actually even get the whole wealth transfer. So you know what, before I go any further, I've got a couple comments because there are a couple
Sure.
people who have been here and I just want to make sure that, what do we got? What do we got? Oh, okay. So we've got a couple people who have said, yes. So we have, the Timbos. We love Timbos. Estate
Yeah.
Planning by Vince Myers. I love that. And Advisory Avenue said, damn, when they heard the $1 trillion, I could see a lot of eyeballs rolling because I think that, you raised a good point. So
Yeah.
back to what I was saying about how especially within the Black community, I think there's always this kind of broke mentality or this
Hmm.
lack mentality, if you will, where not knowing that teachers, firefighters, police
Oh my
officers,
God.
engineers, civil servants, people who worked within their communities for many many years beyond civil, whatever it was, they have pensions, they
Hmm.
have long-term care insurance, they have other insurances that can help them in their time, but it's about talking about it. It's about
Hmm.
knowing what those benefits are. I can't tell you how many people that I have started off with as clients who say, I've got no money, right? And then I start digging and then I start asking, oh, well, there was this one program, there's this one plan. And
Right.
after doing all the research, you find out that you now have money for caregivers, you now have money to be able to tuck away, to maybe even leave in a trust. I mean, there's a lot going on, and this has to be kind of at the forefront because we're not really having these conversations with people. And I think even within the caregiving community, we're not having the conversations. We're
Right.
having the conversations about how hard things are, about how much there isn't, how about the resources that are not available. But I want to start having conversations about where to find them and how to use them so that they can not only benefit your parents, but also you down the line.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
that kind of brings me up to my next question. And I think we might have just about 5 more minutes, and I guess we'll have
Hmm.
to stop, right, people? I get 30 minutes is what we said we would cap this at, and we're trying to do the best that we can. I just wanted to say that Paraham Intelligence says most old folks don't want to be the burden. Good
Right.
point. That's on our
Right.
Instagram. And it's true. And so we want to make sure not only are they not a burden, but if you're not a burden, what is it that we can help you with to make you be as burdenless? Because as
Hmm.
the caregiver, you never want to say to your parents, oh, this is a burden or this is a struggle. But honestly, a lot of my caregivers are experiencing burden and struggle. They're not
Right.
calling it that. They're calling it overwhelm. They're calling it burnout, but that's what's happening. So
Right.
let me just ask this one question about intergenerational wealth, and I guess we can wrap it up then. And don't forget, folks, this series is going on pretty much throughout the rest of this year. We are covering all that we can every single Tuesday. We swap days on platforms, but we're always live on IG. So if you guys
Hmm.
have any questions, comments, things that you want to know about, ask about, go ahead, DM us, send us a message, email us, because we really want to talk to you and get to know exactly what it is that you want to hear, right? So my last question, Demelza, before I let you go, I've got to give you a little bit of a toughie, but I
Okay.
wanted to know how or what your feelings are about using life insurance to build or to help build intergenerational wealth.
Right.
And I don't know if everybody's familiar with the term intergenerational wealth. So if you wouldn't mind just giving like a quick kind of snippet of that,
Absolutely.
okay,
Right.
before you answer.
Right. So intergenerational wealth is it's a form of wealth transfer, but
Okay.
in this particular instance, when we're talking about insurance, it's basically when your parent dies,
Hmm.
you receive the money. You know what I mean? As long as you're their child and heir, and hopefully you have the paperwork done so that you're not giving all this money to Uncle Sam.
That part.
But you are receiving money from this insurance benefit upon their death, right? So basically,
Yes.
they are paying this monthly fee,
Hmm.
and you receive this largesse.
Okay.
Now, you asked me, how do I feel about this in terms of life insurance and
Yes.
intergenerational wealth. And I'm gonna be really honest with everybody on here. I am very much here for this. Now, let me
Are
explain
you?
to you
Okay, please.
that does not mean that I am wishing for my mama and daddy to die.
No.
One thing does not have to mean the other. And the reality is that especially for Black people, Black Americans, we actually buy a lot of insurance, like a lot of insurance. The issue is that we are underinsured. We have less coverage in our insurance products than white people do. So some of that, and I'm gonna keep it 100. Some of that is because we've been sold really crappy insurance products. All right.
Okay. All right.
Like that's
Tell it. Yeah, no, tell the
there.
truth and shame the devil.
The
Just
insurance
say it.
companies get to really own that, especially with the history of racial injustice that we've dealt with. They knew they could go to communities and sell insurance products that are shoddy and don't pay out that much money and leave us holding the bag. It's just enough money to pay for funeral expenses.
Right.
That's it. And I'm telling you right now, that is not how I see insurance, and that is not how I communicate with my clients regarding insurance. So I think that it is extremely important to recognize that we have to focus less on quantity, more on quality of our insurance products. The best way to do that is you set up a meeting every single year with your parents to go over your insurance products. You have got to look and read the fine print, because like apps that we download, they send you an update and say, hey, we've updated the following on XYZ, and now we sell this to this person because they are paying us money. Well, insurance products go, hey, so we've reduced this benefit, and instead we've increased this benefit that has absolutely no actual benefit to you. If you're not looking at these insurance products, if you're not reading the fine print, then you're going to miss out on that intergenerational wealth. So yeah, on the surface, right, we can easily say, hey, white people have been doing that for years, because I think our boy Vince mentioned that, right? White people,
absolutely.
Yeah, but we have to look beyond the surface. It's not just about what white people have been doing.
Sure.
It's really about how can we maximize this particular product or this particular asset, so that we are providing intergenerational wealth. And so I'm going to say one more thing about this, though.
Sure,
too,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, no, this would be good.
All right. So you will see people damn near kill themselves to go into debt, to pay for their kid, to have an education, and to go to Harvard or go to Princeton, either on scholarship or not. Okay. No blame, no shame, right? No blame, no shame. But you're going to tell me you're going to do that, but you're not going to check your insurance product so that you can give your child true freedom, freedom
You're
to
gonna
be able
make
to
me go
make
check.
choices. I mean, I'm not trying to, I want to make sure that people understand. I don't purposely come for the throat. It's
Are you
just
sure?
kind of
Because I feel
natural.
it. It's right here.
I'm not, but sometimes you just got to get it right here and right here.
Yeah,
But the point
it was two spots. Yeah, like because you said something earlier and it was here. Okay, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? But the point is that you have to recognize that we have, to a certain extent, been conditioned as a people, as a society, to see that, oh, you know what, college is the key. A master's degree is the key.
Right.
An MBA or a doctorate is the key.
Yep.
And it can be the key, but it was never built to be the key for us. Okay? It was never built that way. And neither were insurance products. They weren't built to be the key for us. They were built to be the key for everybody else. Same thing with education. So as we're going through this and doing this work, we have to be looking at it with a sense of awareness of this product was built to serve other people. It wasn't built to serve me, but how can I make it work for me? Okay. How can I make it work for me as a parent? How can I make it work for me as a, adult child or a kid, so that we can benefit? We have to start looking at things differently and with kind of like a third eye. And I'm not trying to get, mystical, but
absolutely.
It is a sense of awareness.
Absolutely. Awesome. I think that not only is the awareness a big deal, but it's also the accepting that, yes, there are all these things that are working against you, right? The things that you don't know, the things that you need to know, right? But
Mhm.
then also it's about, do you want to be in the know?
Right.
There's just that. And so, pun intended, nurse in the know, it's not just about healthcare, right? You got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, okay, you see how I did that right there. Okay, so, but seriously, it's about what you want to know, because, in nursing, I could know all things healthcare, right? And I could know
Mhm.
everything that, was related to the systems of the body and how things worked. But if I neglected to find out or figure out what was going on in my patient's at home life, like what their true lifestyle was
Right.
like, what their family situation was like, what their stress situation was like, what their family dynamics were like, then I wouldn't, all I could do is teach and do all my care planning and all this stuff, right? But if I was not in the know of their real world, it didn't matter.
Right.
And that was my due diligence. So when it comes to caregiving, when it comes to caring for your aging parents and building wealth, this is the due diligence part.
Right.
So you just brought up a good point. I got to pull out that insurance policy. I got to pull it out. I mean, like, I'm going to see my mom in a month, and I got to pull it out. Like, now I can't sit here and just,
Listen, you would be
listen to
really
you.
amazed at how many retired
Yeah,
parents maintain insurance that they don't even need anymore. I know
you're
people
right.
who still got disability insurance, they don't work. And I'm like, why are you
And don't
paying for
work at
disability
all.
insurance? Like, well, I just, and I'm like, but you don't work.
You don't.
And the money, like, you're not working. I mean, it'd be different.
But
Like,
they're paying, but it's
right,
there, and they're not
right.
really paying attention to it.
And then when I
Mhm.
ask the other question, so what's the benefit? Like,
Sure.
what does it pay out if you do get harmed?
Right, right.
Right?
Good
And it
question.
was,
Good
I
question.
think the answer that came back to me was like, oh, like $50 a day. I was like, if we
Moving right along.
like,
Yes.
we're
Yes,
going to make some
absolutely.
changes about this. Like, that money that you're paying into that disability insurance that you don't need because you don't work
Right.
can actually increase the quality of your long-term care insurance. Like, that's how we have to be thinking. It's transferring the money from one item and
Hmm.
bringing it to another item. Like, really, that is a huge part of what I do in parental wealth. Is I look at
Oh,
the numbers and I'm like, how can we make this money work better for us?
better, yeah.
Right? Again, Players Club, we are making it work better for us. We are not letting it work us over, because you will go 15 years, 20 years paying into a product that you don't need, don't remember that you have, but you just automatically pay it. And the amount of money, if you're paying even $50 a month for 15 years, hold on.
Bring it out. Let these people know.
you know, for 15 years, that's
Mhm.
$9,000. You know what I can do with $9,000 for
A
you? You know
lot,
what
a
you can do
lot.
with $9,000?
More than I care to admit.
That's a
Yes.
lot of
Yes.
spa days to me. That's
Honey.
that's a
Yeah.
that is a vacation in the Maldives. Like,
Oh, I love it.
I'm
Speaking of
just saying.
vacation, I guess we can leave with that. We were a little bit over time, but it was
We
well
are, but can
worth
I
it.
leave everybody with one item? I just want to leave
Absolutely.
you
I
guys with
yes,
one
go
item.
for it. Go for it.
You had mentioned a little earlier about the importance of scheduling meetings. I want to let you
Yes.
guys know, if you go to my profile on Gumroad, so I'm on gumroad.com
Perfect.
/parental wealth. I currently have a scheduler that you can
Awesome.
download for free. This is my freebie. Go for it, get it. You know what I mean? Enjoy it. It really gives you some guidance on how to really work with your parents to get them to want to start to create a budget. You know what I mean? And it
I
helps
love
with
that.
scheduling these meetings. I look at it like a business meeting. So I think it's important to have it on your calendar, have somebody take notes. They can be electronic
Hmm.
notes or written notes, and make sure that you are understanding exactly what you want to pursue by having a budget. So please go to gumroad.com /parental wealth. Thank you so much,
I'm good.
for putting that.
I did. I was just, it
Yeah,
was so good. I'm
go
good.
for it, guys. I'm a fan.
Seriously.
I know I probably should have been like, oh, go to my link in my bio, IG. I get that, but bigger than that, I just want you guys to have the information. And there's going to be more. I'm currently building it out. There's going to be some more stuff coming as we get closer to the holiday season. So we really appreciate having you. You're very welcome, Sasha 109. I just saw she said thank you. So we're really happy to do this, guys.
We are super happy. I couldn't just harp on it anymore that you guys are here to get the information that you need. And we want to continue providing you with whatever comments, whatever questions that you guys have, the answer to those questions. Like I said, DM me, DM Parental Wealth. We are here for you. Next week, we will be back here on Tuesday, 7 p.m.
Yep.
Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. Y'all, please come back. We love having you. Anything else that I missed? I think we're good. We had a really good session. This was really nice.
Awesome. I can't wait for next week, right?
I
Because
know.
I'm gonna tell you right now what I want to talk about.
Okay,
I want to talk about
yes.
caregiving and fintech.
Oh, she's not playing, guys.
I'm not playing games.
This is good.
I think this is awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. And bye, guys. Really appreciated having you today. Thank you so much.
Bye, Instagram land. All right. Yeah. And bye, Periscope. Bye, YouTube. We had such a great time. Thank you so much. All right.